Hey guys, John here. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to my channel. Jason's here. He's not dead.
Not dead. Yes, I am alive. Over COVID.
But today we are talking Wonder Woman 84. We've seen it. We wanted to talk about it a little bit, give our opinions on it. From what I've seen online, it's either a movie you either love it or you hate it.
Yeah, there's really no in between.
Yeah, there's no in between. I'll go ahead and tell you what I feel about it. I didn't like it.
The way that I felt about it wasn't DC's best movie, but definitely wasn't DC's worst movie. If I was going to give it like a 1 to 10 rating, I'd probably give it middle of the road, like a 5.
5? Okay. I would probably give it maybe a 4.
So you put up there with like A New Hope.
Yeah, I think so. You know, I would probably I think I would rank A New Hope over Wonder Woman 84.
Wow, and you hated A New Hope. If you're a fan of the comic books, there's a few things in the comic books that it just never happened. I don't want to give anything away. And so like I'm trying to definitely limit any spoilers, which there weren't really any other. I mean, you see a lot of the movie in the previews, but Pedro Pascal, love him as an actor, love all the things he does. I just didn't really like him as Maxwell Lord, and I didn't like the way they portrayed Maxwell Lord in this movie. He in the comics he was more like he was a business tyrant. In this he wasn't. But I know you said what you liked. That was like the best part of the movie was Pedro Pascal.
And yes, I did tell you that.
Yeah.
And since then, I've done a little research on Maxwell Lord, that character in the Wonder Woman DC universe. And going back to what you said, in the comic series, Maxwell Lord was very manipulative.
Mm-hmm.
And just a tyrant.
You can't stop me! No one can!
The way he was portrayed in the movie was more of like just a failed businessman, just running a Ponzi scheme, just ripping people off. Yeah. Had a little taste of power and just completely corrupted. So that was a little bit of a different take on the character. Based on what I've read and how the character was portrayed in the movie, I would like to see the character portrayed more of the manipulative tyrant rather than just a failed con man. But if we continue on with the movie series, we have an opportunity to see that character grow and become more of the manipulative tyrant that he's described to be in the comics. So that is always an option. That would be something I would look forward to see.
How did you feel about Kristen Wiig as Cheetah?
I didn't buy it. Kristen Wiig she's a comedic actress, in my opinion. She's a goofball.
Before I go to sleep, my feet take me off and they go to bed. When I close my eyes really tight, I can watch movies on demand. I can choose whatever I want. It's free because I know a guy.
She's great at comedy, but as a villain, I really didn't care for her in that role.
She really reminded me of kind of Michelle Pfeiffer in Batman Returns, as the Selena Kyle character. Like nobody takes her serious. She doesn't take herself serious. And then, she starts, getting these powers and, like everybody starts paying attention to her and, she just kind of milks it. Except for, I thought that Michelle Pfeiffer did much better, in Batman Returns than Kristen Wiig did in this.
Yeah, that's a good comparison. I hadn't thought of that. But yeah, you're right. That is very similar.
I just watched Batman Returns again for the other day, so.
Let's talk about the mall scene at the beginning of the movie.
I thought it was funny how, she like drops from the sky, kind of like like Superman, drops through the skylight and doesn't hurt anybody with the falling glass. I did like the part where the little girl is just like enthralled by Wonder Woman, and the little guy was gonna like shoot at her, and she was like hold on and tosses her, and she slides across the floor into the big teddy bear. Yeah.
So you thought that was?
I thought that was humorous.
You thought it was humorous.
Yeah.
For me, I thought it was so cheesy and so corny. I rolled my eyes at that point. I thought that was ridiculous, and that was one of the parts that killed that scene for me.
I thought it was humorous. The
wink, wink, ding, ding. I'm like, oh come on! I rolled my eyes so hard, I think I almost passed out.
So, the four thieves in that mall heist or jewelry heist or whatever it was. I couldn't stand any of those four guys.
Oh man, that acting was terrible.
It was like
he walks in and flashes his gun. Don't even think about it. And he's like, I hear you got some black market stuff. Yeah, nobody's gonna know.
So then they like open like the secret door, and the two guys go in there. Did they not think close the door, call the cops? Like
Yeah, no. It's the 80s. Apparently people didn't think about anything but money and cocaine in the 80s.
True. So
if Scarface has taught us anything, it's that no one has thought of anything other than money and cocaine in the 80s.
That's right.
What about the shoplifting girls? Remember the shoplifting girls?
Yeah, they were like getting like a pair of sunglasses. Right?
Yeah, and they're like, let's go, and they run out and they push this bride over this little bridge, and Wonder Woman catches the bride, but nothing ever happens to those girls. What's up with that?
What's up with the girls? Like Maxwell Lord sees the jewel on Kristen Wiig's desk, like how he was just like that look. He's like, and what, nobody noticed that he's just like Kristen Wiig didn't notice that he's like eyeballing Jewel. She practically like pushes him away from the door. So and then like later when they after the party takes him back to his office, and it's like, can I borrow this? And it's like,
yeah, and she's like, okay,
but he still like steals it because he puts it behind his back, and like she just said, yeah, you can borrow it. You're stealing it. Like, what's up with that? So,
it had to be nefarious. Yeah. He's a sinister guy.
He's a sinister guy.
He's sinister.
Yeah, so, but yeah, I was like, really? He you see him eyeball it, and then he's like, can I borrow this? And then she doesn't really care what happens to it after that.
Yeah, I didn't really like the whole premise of a stone that grants you wishes.
Yeah, that was kind of. It's like, can we not come up with It kind of reminded me. It's like, okay, it's Aladdin's lamp. You rub it and you make three. Get a wish. But
yeah. And of course, Wonder Woman wished her boyfriend back to life, and suddenly there he is.
And we get Steve, which wasn't even regular Steve because he like took over some dude's body.
Yeah, he like looked totally different.
Only Wonder Woman, Dinah Prince could see Steve.
Yeah, she's like, all I see is you.
All I see is you.
And it's like he looks. When they did at one point they do like this, where he's standing in front of a mirror, and like you can see the guy that he's supposed to be like in the mirror, and then like you see him. They do kind of look alike a little bit.
Yeah, I think they might have done that purposely. They kind of did his hair to kind of look similar, I think, and found somebody with some similar features. I thought they did the casting of that on purpose. But let's talk about the invisible jet.
So, what did you think about the way they, how they got the invisible jet?
I thought it was cheesy, just like the rest of the movie, but I chalked it up to the fact that I never followed the Wonder Woman comic books. I didn't know really the first thing about it besides she has an invisible jet. How she got that invisible jet, never came to mind. And I figured, okay, she's got magic invisibility powers all of a sudden. Okay, maybe that's a power I didn't know about. And as cheesy as that was in the movie, I just went with it. What are your thoughts?
So in the comics, like she has the invisible jet. Um, she was gifted the invisible jet. She didn't steal it from the Smithsonian and then turn it invisible while they're trying to fly away. Yeah, I that I was like, okay, that's kind of cheesy. And then she's like, I've been trying to practice this for 50 years, and I've only ever made a coffee cup disappear. And he's like, well, what happened to it? And I couldn't find it.
I lost it.
It's like, and then I was thinking, well, if you couldn't find a coffee cup, how are you going to find a jet? And I was just like, really? That's okay. That's how she gets the jet. She steals it. Yeah, it's truth and virtue there.
Yeah. Truth and virtue. I just stole a jet.
Yeah.
From the Smithsonian.
Mm-hmm. They'll never miss it.
No, never. They got plenty more.
So whole movie's about truth and virtue, and that's the big push of this movie. And what does Wonder Woman do? She steals a jet.
Steals a jet
from her place of employment.
Ooh.
So in the movie, Maxwell Lord has a son, and he's like this little 6 or 7 year old. They never talk about the mom, other than there's one scene where he's just granting wishes, and it says that like his assistant comes in and was like, your son Alistair is here, and or he didn't tell him that he was there, and he was like, what? He goes, his mom couldn't have him for 1 weekend. How many weekends do I have? And his son hears it and kind of runs off. But yeah, it's like, okay, it's if you why did as the movie progresses, you see why they introduce, I guess, his son's character at the very end. Like the last part of the movie, you kind of see why they introduce. But I was just like, what purpose does that other than to show that he's human? What purpose did him having a son do in the movie?
Yeah. It was only for that one scene at the end.
Yeah.
I think that was it. Other than that, he served no purpose.
It's like that's a B character that could have been written out.
Yeah. Even when he's hugging the kid just looks totally awkward. Just his head's kind of in his shoulder. It might not have even been a real kid. I think that was just a dummy because he was just. Yeah. The kid was, Dad, I can't breathe. How about the visual effects?
When they're flying through, like the fireworks, right?
Yeah.
That
was a cool.
That was really pretty, and that was cool how they did that.
That was cool. I think that's where they put all the money for the visual effects.
I think so. That and flying through the clouds.
Because let's talk about the running scenes. Oh my gosh. I felt like she just stood in place and did this, and then they just ran a green screen behind her.
Yeah, she was probably on a treadmill.
Yeah, and she was just doing this, and they're like, we'll just speed up the footage behind her just like 10 times, and it's gonna look like she's running real fast, and it's gonna be awesome, guys.
It's not gonna look awkward at all.
No, this is gonna look phenomenal. And then they did it, and then some dude sat on his computer and edited it and added stuff, and he's like, yes.
I think I could have done that with Visual Basic.
So somebody approved that visual effect, the running. Somebody approved that, and they thought, "Oh man, that looks really awesome." Yeah, that is a major motion picture effect right there.
And and also when they're in the desert and she's chasing down the trucks, right? She's like she opens, they're going in the car, and like Steve is driving this car, and they're chasing down these trucks with Maxwell Lord in them, and like she just like opens the door and like gets out, like she. And then starts running faster than the car.
And suddenly she's in her Wonder Woman costume.
Yeah, like,
just a second ago, she was in her full civilian getup, and she's like, I got this. And suddenly, just like that.
Well, you see her put on like the headpiece, and then she gets out of the car and she's in like the full Wonder Woman outfit.
And then she starts running, and the guy's in his computer going, yes, that looks awesome.
Yes.
I totally lied on my resume. I got this job with Warner Brothers now, but that's cool. I'm gonna make this look awesome.
And you know, like some editors going, yes, that's exactly the look I was going for. And it's like,
Yeah, somebody's getting fired at Warner Brothers.
so, and then you know that same scene, she's pushing a truck sideways faster than Steve Trevor's driving.
She's pushing it as they're going. It's like,
Yeah, acting like it's nothing, like she's
yeah.
pushing.
But
a
at that
Datsun.
point, she's lost her powers.
She's starting to lose her
to,
powers.
yeah, to the point that she took a bullet.
Yeah.
But yet she can still push that truck sideways.
We loved it.
We're just dogging this movie, aren't we?
Patty Jenkins, I hope you're watching.
She ain't watching. She's got much better things to do than watching my channel.
What? You're gonna upload this and get a notification like Patty Jenkins, and is now subscribing. You're like, oh crap!
Oh, Patty Jenkins.
Or Gal Gadot, subscribed.
If Gal subscribes to my channel, I don't know what I'll do, but I'll be happy. Hey.
He'll sincerely apologize.
Yeah. Hey, you did awesome. Those visual effects sucked, but you were awesome. When is Snyder Cut coming out? Let's talk about that fight scene in the White House when she and Steve are taking on the Secret Service agents. I felt like that was a huge letdown.
I agree. At the same time, she's taking on the Secret Service. She's trying not to seriously hurt anybody. She's also realizing at that point that she is continuing to lose her powers. And then Cheetah shows up. There is some really cool scenes like where she's like disarming people, and she's like taking guns apart and like ejecting bullets, hitting the bullets, and that's pretty cool. Then you got Steve Trevor, who's going around and also beating up the Secret Service, and it's like I thought they would be better trained than that. Where
you
a
would
pilot
think
could beat them up.
Yeah, some dude just runs in and thunk.
Yeah.
And the whole time, Wonder Woman's like just spinning her lasso and looking at him like, "Are you done yet?
Hurry it up!
Hurry up! My wrist is getting tired over here.
I'm losing my powers. Remember?" The president, was that supposed to be Reagan?
That's what I thought initially, and then I'm like, if that's supposed to be Reagan, that's a terrible Reagan.
That's a really bad Reagan.
Yeah. So I just chalked it up as it's not Reagan.
It's a little more like Storm and Norman Schwarzkopf than they did Reagan.
Let's talk about what we did like about the movie.
What we did like about the movie. I did like in the mall scene, the little girl sliding in the teddy bear. You did not.
Rolled my eyes.
Rolled your eyes.
Just about passed out.
Kristen Wiig is like walking through the park or going home, or back to the office at night after she just had dinner with Diana Prince, and she kind of gets jumped. Diana Prince comes up right there at the the nick of time, and like shoves him, and Kristen Wiig's like, "How'd you do that?" And she's like, "Oh, I'll teach you. It's all about using their own momentum." Another thing I did like about the movie is it is very much about truth. It's supposed to be about truth and virtue. And I think in the world today we need more of that. It is like the whole ending of the movie is about telling the truth, and how the truth is eventually what saves you, and how you can't live you can't build a world, you can't live a life full based on lies, because eventually it's going to rip itself apart.
Yeah, I agree with that. I did like that too. At the end when she's doing her speech.
This world was a beautiful place, just as it was. And you cannot have it all. You can only have the truth. And the truth is enough. The truth is beautiful. So look at this world. And look at what your wish is costing it. You must be the hero. Only you can save the day. Renounce your wish.
Why would I? When it's finally my turn! The world belongs to me! You can't stop me! No one can!
I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to everyone else.
John's channel. Not Patrick's. John's.
John's, not Patrick's.